The Pocket 4 has been out for a little while, and now the Pocket 4P, which I think we can safely assume means the Pocket 4 Pro. The real question is, which one of these two cameras should you buy in 2026? Let's break down the differences between them and see which one's right for you. And just so we're clear, DJI did provide me with both of these cameras and also brought me to Toronto to test them both, which has been an incredible experience, and I want to say thank you to DJI. But they're not paying me and they're not sponsoring this video in any other way. First off, there's very little difference size-wise between these two, except for when it comes to the gimbal. Obviously, having a second camera makes the gimbal a little bit larger, and I did notice a little bit faster battery drain, but I think the biggest differences comes when it comes to image quality. So obviously the biggest difference between the Pocket 4 and the Pocket 4P is the fact that the Pocket 4P has two cameras. And you would think that the main camera on both of these would be the same, but they're not. The sensors are different and they definitely look a little different, and because you have access to Dlog 2 on the Pocket 4P, it also gives you a little bit more dynamic range, 14 stops on the Pocket 4, up to 17 stops on the Pocket 4P, but you can shoot in Dlog in both of them. But the Dlog 2 definitely gives you the most amount of dynamic range on the Pocket 4P when you compare it to the Pocket 4. And you could see here, like, it might not look like there's much difference depending on how YouTube compresses this video, but there actually is a fairly substantial difference. And what DJI says is the Pocket 4 is rated for up to about 14 stops of dynamic range, where the Pocket 4P is up to 17 stops of dynamic range, which, I mean, that's matching cinema cameras, which is insane. But you can definitely see it in the imagery. Now, I don't have any way of testing the actual dynamic range, but you can see on the histogram here that the Dlog 2 is definitely a little bit flatter and a little bit less colored than the Dlog is. And then when you expand it out, or, you know, apply a LUT or start to color grade it, Dlog 2 has significantly more range, especially in the highlights, to be able to recover information. You can see where the sun is basically shining straight at the camera, where Dlog, the Pocket 4, is the sun blows out quite a bit sooner and the area around the sun is blown out. Dlog 2 retains almost all that information. So whatever DJI is doing in this new sensor and with Dlog 2, there is definitely a very significant difference in the two, especially if you want to color grade and pull information out of the highlights. Now, the one thing, at least on the camera that I'm testing and the firmware that I'm testing, is you're not able to film in Dlog 2 on the main, that second camera, the 3X camera. You are able to film in full Dlog 10-bit on it as well, so you can get some great dynamic range. I mean, you can get some really good colors and fantastic color rendition out of it, but no Dlog 2 out of that camera, which we need to talk about the telephoto camera. So the second camera on the Pocket 4P is a 60mm equivalent medium tele lens, and it gives you some incredible, and I just like, this is what I've been missing from the Pocket 3. I love the Pocket 3 for a long time. The Pocket 4 is a solid upgrade, but the Pocket 4P with the secondary camera and the 60mm just gives you so many options for how you want to compose a shot. You get this 3X camera, which means you also get up to a 6X lossless zoom, where the Pocket 4, you're limited to a 2X lossless zoom. But beyond that, you are able to go all the way up to a 12X crop in on that 3X camera, which the zoom range between 1X and 12X is kind of insane. Now, yeah, you do lose a little bit of image quality at 12X, but if you just really got to punch in and get something that's way the heck out there, you can with the Pocket 4P. You definitely cannot with the Pocket 4. Having that second 3X camera just gives you so many options for how you want to compose a shot. It gives you some incredibly nice depth of field and out of focus backgrounds if you're close to something. And when you're close to something, the minimum focus distance for this camera is about 0.3 meters, or just a little under 12 inches. So you can just get some really cool, very detailed imagery. Now, just like the Pocket 4, you have access to 4K up to 240 frames a second on the main camera, which is spectacular if you like slow motion content. Although I will say at 240 frames a second, you have to find something that's moving really fast in order to slow it down enough to make it actually sort of comprehensible by your mind that how slow that is. But then on the tele camera, on the medium tele camera, you can now film up to 4K 200 frames a second. And for those of us in North America, that does come out at a 25 frames a second file, so you have to speed it up by about 118% to get it to match a 30 frames a second timeline, or you have to slow it down a little bit to match a 24 frames a second timeline. But it still gives you some incredible slow motion, and because you've got that medium tele, it's really fun to play with and really, really cool. And then we need to talk about low light, because both of these cameras do really well in low light, especially in their low light modes. Now the main sensor on the Pocket 4P has an f2.0 aperture, but because it's a 1-inch sensor, it does really well in low light, especially with the new low light mode that DJI includes in the Pocket 4 and the Pocket 4P. But the upper camera, the medium tele camera on the Pocket 4P, has an f1.7 aperture, which means you get some shallow depth of field, but also some pretty dang good low light for a little camera this size. It's kind of ridiculous how good this thing can be. And then we come to photo quality, and this is probably one of the most exciting things to me about the Pocket 4 series. Is the main camera, you now have 37 megapixel stills, which are fantastic. They look so good, but you can also use the 3x camera and get some incredibly beautiful imagery as well. And up to this point, I would say the Pocket series hasn't really been a strong photo camera. They were limited to 9 megapixels or so. You just didn't really have a lot of options there. But now you definitely get some incredibly beautiful images, and in all kinds of different lighting environments. And just like the Pocket 3, you can now also do 180 panoramas or 3x3 panoramas if you want to get an even larger image and really get some massive thing right next to you like this building. You can get that with this, but in much more detailed imagery because of the higher megapixels. Aside from the two cameras, one of the biggest things that separates the Pocket 4P from the Pocket 4 is the new Active Track 8 in the Pocket 4P. And this enables you to track in the medium telephoto, the 60mm or 3x camera.
And on the Pocket 4 Pro, it's especially useful when you're using the 3x camera, because then you can get these nice parallax shots with, cool stuff in the background. Very useful.
But it also enables multi-person tracking. It enables you to register a subject for tracking, so if you're in a crowd of people, it won't lose you. And as you can see here, it does do a good job, even without registering a subject, it does do a good job of keeping me in the frame and in focus. Even though Kelly and I were dressed very similarly with hats and black shirts and all that, it did a great job of staying locked on me when we were going in front and behind each other. But something else that they've done is adding subject priority mode for tracking and focus, so you can register a subject in the camera now and it will find that subject and try and keep that subject even in a crowd of people. Very useful if you're in crowded areas where there's a lot of people. Now, one of the other differences between these two cameras is the difference of accessories. So both of them have the option for the little light that DJI has created that just magnets on the back and uses the pogo pins and powers off of the Pocket's battery, so you don't have to charge it separately, which is really convenient. And they both have the option to pair with a DJI Mic 2, DJI Mic Mini, DJI Mic 3. You've been hearing that throughout this video, and so you can get great audio options. And they both have the option for 4-channel audio, so 2 channels of wireless mics and then 2 channels recorded internally on the camera if you want that. Both of these cameras have built-in internal storage, but the Pocket 4 has 107 gigabytes of internal storage, where the Pocket 4P only has 103 gigabytes of internal storage. They both have USB 3.1, so up to 800 megabits offload speed. I've been using the internal storage exclusively with these two cameras because it's just so easy and it's so fast to offload it. It's fantastic. But the biggest difference is that the Pocket 4P allows you to use this frame tap remote, which is incredibly cool and super useful if you like to film yourself from a distance at all, or be able to control the camera remotely really easily without having to get your phone out.
So with the Pocket 4 Pro, you can get this little remote, which is called Frame Tap, and it has a little screen on there, and you can use the remote joystick and the button and stuff like that. But I'm kind of curious to see how far this thing goes. So let's see. That's pretty ridiculous. I am 300 something, 400 feet away, maybe more. I guess I should be saying that in meters since I'm in Canada. I'm at least 150 meters away.
And if you're wondering whether or not the Frame Tap remote works with the Pocket 4, thanks to a recent firmware update, the Frame Tap remote is now compatible with the Pocket 4 as well as the 4P. And oddly enough, I didn't notice a massive difference between these two cameras in battery usage. The Pocket 4P definitely uses battery a tiny bit faster because the gimbal's a little bigger and a little heavier, I would assume. But honestly, it was like 1 to 2% after basically a full day of shooting, which is really impressive. So who is the Pocket 4 best suited for, and who is the Pocket 4P best suited for? Well, if you're just starting out, you're wanting to get a nice high quality handheld camera for walking and talking, for vlogging, anything like that, then the Pocket 4 is going to be a fantastic place for you to start. It has great image quality, great responsiveness in every way. I mean, it's just a very solid handheld camera. But if you're wanting to get that next level of image quality, then the Pocket 4P is where it's at. I have not seen anything like this, the image quality coming out of a camera this size anywhere. Dlog 2 is absolutely incredible with that new 1-inch sensor that they've put in the Pocket 4P. But beyond that, having that extra camera, the 3X, the 60mm focal length, and the lossless zooms and stuff like that, gives you an opportunity to just compose your shots differently, to be able to get a different feeling when you're filming with this camera as far as the way the imagery looks, and to be able to get those detail shots that is really difficult to get in any other way. So if you're wanting to step up your game, or maybe you have the Pocket 3 and you want to upgrade, you definitely should consider looking at the Pocket 4P. And there are, of course, affiliate links in the description of this video. They don't cost you anything extra, but they do help me out. Now, the biggest downside of the Pocket 4 and the Pocket 4P is that they're not officially available in the United States. You could probably get them on places like eBay and stuff like that, but that's up to you, and there's no official warranty support or anything like that here. Next, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You're gonna wanna watch this video right here. I promise you, you're definitely gonna wanna see this. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or let me know. Enjoy my live stream Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we can have more of a conversation. I can answer questions that maybe I didn't get to in this video, because I'm sure there's a bunch. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers.